Two.
I was making eyes at you for that reason.
Oh,
Let's not share too much.
At 6:06, I'm going to call this meeting to order. We have a nice full house this evening. Some of the air conditioners are working, some are not. So we're going to try to deal with the heat in here. I'm going to have everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to open up to Mark Strong to let him share a few words for us.
Madam Chair, please remain standing for a moment of silence. Yesterday, August 26th, was the third anniversary of 13 U.S. soldiers killed and several others injured at Abbey Gate in Afghanistan during the withdrawal. I ask that you keep them in your hearts and their families and loved ones in your prayers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Julie. That thing, nice. They can pick us up, even a whisper.
Today we have a public hearing. If you wish to speak in the public hearing, we're going to open the hearing for local law to amend local law number 5 of 2022 to correct the legal description of the boundaries of certain legislative districts. This is on our agenda last month to set the hearing, and we are having the hearing this evening. So if you wish to speak to the local law, oh, thanks. Let me know. And I jumped over Sheila Smith. So we're all out of sorts. All right, so I made that announcement in case anyone's here to speak to it. You may do it after roll call.
Would you speak up, please?
I'll try.
Thank you.
Jonathan Anna,
Present.
Ben Vitale,
Here.
Tom Wenzel,
Present.
Bob Shay,
Present.
Hans Puncher,
Here.
Mark Strong,
Here.
Heidi Nightingale,
Present.
Lane Daly,
Here.
Stephanie DeVito,
Yeah.
Brian Muldrow,
Here.
E. McNabb Cole.
Present. Okay, so we opened the public hearing. If anyone is watching this through live stream, the number to call is 315-294-8051 if you wish to get on the public hearing, the public law. We have a proclamation this evening, so I'm going to ask to approach the podium. Public to be heard. If anyone would like to come up, please make sure you turn on the microphone so we can hear you. So I would like to offer this proclamation this evening. It's an International Overdose Awareness Day, August 31st, 2024. Whereas in our democratic society, it's an important civic responsibility and a great honor for any governmental body to grant public recognition, admiration, and gratitude to these very citizens who have helped build this community and influence the future of its citizens. And whereas Cayuga County does affirm and acknowledge the harm and hardship caused by drug overdoses, and whereas we recognize the purpose of International Overdose Awareness Day as remembering loved ones lost to overdoses, acknowledging the grief of family and friends left behind, and ending the stigma of drug-related deaths. And whereas we resolve to take meaningful action to save lives and play our part in reducing the toll of overdoses in our community, which claimed 5 lives so far this year in Cayuga County. And whereas we affirm that the people affected by overdoses are our sons and daughters, our mothers and fathers, our brothers and sisters, and deserving of our love, compassion, and support. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Aileen McNabb Coleman, Chair of the Cayuga County Legislature, and fellow legislators, do hereby proclaim August 31st, 2024 as International Overdose Awareness Day in Cayuga County. I'd like to ask, well, I'm sorry, Mona Gaffney to come up and give us some papers. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm Monica Salvage. I'm the project director for the opiate overdose prevention program at Cayuga County Mental Health. And I really don't like to be standing up here by myself, but I also recognize that not everybody wants to show or demonstrate, you know, how they've been affected. But anybody who feels they want to come up here and stand with me as we're talking a little bit about what the Overdose Awareness Day is for, please feel free. We do want to recognize the people who we have lost to overdoses and also their families and their environment, their loved ones, their neighbors, their friends who have been greatly affected, who are grieving and who are trying to figure out how to go on without that person. And it's a different kind of grief than, say, if your loved one died from breast cancer or heart failure. You probably are not getting a casserole at the front door. And this is because there is still a huge stigma around substance use. And so it's hard for family members to speak about it, why and how they lost their loved one. And it's also hard for people around them figuring out how to support them and how to help them and show their support and show how they feel about them, because it's still a silent disease in a way where people try not to talk about it. And that's what we're trying to do with every program, with every initiative that we're doing in Cayuga County. We're trying to reduce that stigma, that people feel comfortable coming out, asking for help for their loved ones. And we also want to think about the people who survived an overdose today. People who are alive, people who are doing well, in fact, well enough that they figured they wanted to help other people who are still struggling. And so we have a number of those people in our community who do that for a living now, helping others find their path to a healthier life, to recovery, and just thinking about what they've been through and where they are now, and just imagining the people that I know and that I get to work with every day, if they were not around anymore, it would be a huge loss to our community. So as it's not exactly today, it's August 31st. As we're thinking about all of them, we're going to continue on. Obviously, the work is not done, even though we have seen a reduction in overdose fatalities in our county, which is good. But there's always something else coming up, and we always need to be vigilant. And that's what we're trying to do with our overdose prevention programs, our programs that reduce harm for people who are still struggling, getting them access to treatment and helping them find their path to recovery. Thank you.
At this point, do any legislators have any one to give privilege to the floor to?
And Walter?
Okay.
Can you hear me? What? I need to keep it out of the whole thing.
If you just push it up, yeah, and then
Now?
I have to say,
Okay. Better?
Great.
Oops, a lot better. Okay. I feel compelled to address the assembly based on what I heard at the last legislative meeting. I'm going to have 3 items. Because I feel as a community, we are better and we can do better. And what this is in reference
Karen,
to.
can you speak a little louder, please?
What this is in reference to, help me.
Ms. Walter, sorry, if we could, I'm sorry, we're in a different kind of setup and I'm used to looking at you too. If you could just make sure you state your name and your address, thank you. And then you have 3 minutes. Yes, thank you. To set the.
Karen Walter, 15 Casey Avenue, Auburn, New York. Thank you. So as I was saying, there was a walk-on resolution, and while it's not necessary to have it go through committee, the process that followed, there was
the resolution that was distributed. There was a second. And the word discussion was said, and then 6 seconds later, it said, call the question. And one legislator asked for it to be tabled, another one asked for debate and so forth. And it's unfortunate because if any one of the legislators had said, I want to make a motion to appeal the decision of the chair, there would have been an opportunity to pause. So be that as it may, again, it's not a criticism, it's an opportunity to improve. I think that maybe Government Ops Committee can take a look at that and see how to improve that process. As I looked at the reorganization meeting, it does indicate that a walk-on is possible, and then it says to refer to rule number 10, and that talks about minutes. So I don't see the correlation. But be that as it may, the next thing I wanted to talk about was transparency. And we have a resolution on this evening to remaining ARPA funds. Yes. And on the agenda, it doesn't include any real details. In fact, what was indicated earlier at least gives some dollar amounts for particular resolutions. There's 12 resolutions that are identified. And I'm going to wager that possibly one legislator knows what each of those resolutions are. On a Saturday night, I looked them up. I know what each one of the 12 are. That should, in my opinion, again, this could be a government ops, it should say resolution 9622 in parentheses, what was the original amount, what was it designated for, and how much is going to be reallocated or returned to the general fund. We're talking about $2 million here, folks. That's a lot of money, and it should be explained in this document. Lastly, procurement. I see where it's been recommended to continue with the current cleaning company for 3 of the buildings, and the county office building was pulled out. Again, transparency. If that had been mentioned during the Ways and Means Committee, it would not have yet to have been asked by another legislator. However, I don't know anything about this company. I don't know if they're from Onondaga County, Cayuga County, Timbuktu. I don't know if they're a minority-owned business. I don't know if they're a women-owned business. I don't know anything about them. And the Cayuga County Courts is going out for bid. So it seemed to me, why don't they both go out for bid and see if you can't get the best bargain for your dollar. And especially in the event, I believe it was in 2019 or 2017, DeNapoli did an audit of Cayuga County, and the topic was procurements. So I think the dollar amount being over $100,000 would lend itself to going out to bid. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your time and consideration.
Ms. Walter, thank you. Do any other legislators
No.
have privilege of the floor? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to give privilege of the floor to Melissa Reeves.
Hello there, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Melissa Reeves, 2805 Dunn Road, Weedsport. I work for the SNAP unit, and since the building closed in May, we were temporarily relocated to the historian's office, and now we're working at the historic post office in the former WIC. To say that the working conditions are not ideal is an understatement. There are currently 32 employees in 3 small rooms. The intake went from 4 public-facing windows to 1. The waiting room is very small, and there's no client privacy in this location. My question for all of you is, where are you? We have only seen 3 legislators who have visited. One was just yesterday, and all have agreed this is a terrible spot. I sent an email to my legislator on June 8th and didn't get a response. None of this is a surprise to me. Honestly, I wouldn't let most of you in the security door of the building without seeing your badge first, as I don't recognize most of the faces. It seems to me as public officials, you would make your way around to the employees and at least introduce yourselves, especially in the crisis situation we are currently in. You seem to forget the employees of Cayuga County are your constituents along with our family and friends. The city of Rome had a tornado in July and their county and city buildings sustained damage. In days, they had trailers for their employees to continue working. And in 8 days had rented a building for their DSS to continue. Why are we still in this situation 3 months later? How is it that after a pandemic, Cayuga County still doesn't have a plan for an emergency like this? Why isn't this body having more meetings to discuss a more permanent location for the employees instead of once monthly combined with all this other stuff you need to take care of? What a failure. It is not a surprise that the building repairs are going slowly. We know that you've secured leases for some departments for a number of years. So even though nothing is being communicated to us, we are acutely aware that this project will be very long-term. I've been a county employee for almost 17 years, and I can't count the number of times the legislature has had a company come in and to assess whether we should remodel or rebuild. Thousands of dollars are spent for a report and then nothing is done. Now you've reached the point where you have no choice but to do something. And it makes no sense to put a new roof on a building in as bad a condition as this building is in. It's like putting lipstick on a pig or Band-Aid on a bullet wound. As you can tell, we're very frustrated and we feel unappreciated. In my opinion, we've been very flexible with this, working whenever and wherever we're told, and sometimes without much warning. It's also been disrupted to the departments we've had to borrow space from. Some employees are working from their vehicles, some are from home. Most of these positions are impossible to do effectively at home. On top of that, we have a few employees who are running as couriers to all the other units that are spread around. We are working 2 to a table, no desks. Space is tight and not at all functional. If any of you had to work in this environment, it would have been resolved very quickly. You aren't seeing how difficult it is for those of us who've lost important things from the county office building workspace. Not just work items, but important personal things like our children's artwork and pictures, plants, even fish. The list goes on and on. I haven't even touched upon our worries about our health and safety and the mental health aspects of this. I challenge all of you to come and visit the work sites, listen to the employees of Cayuga County, because your absence speaks volumes. Thank you.
Anyone else have a pillar to the floor? Yes.
Mr. John Bowles.
Hello, you hear me?
Yep.
John Bowles, 48 Indian Field Road. I've got an issue with New York State Electric and Gas, and I contacted the power authority that regulates them. And I got no response, no worse, but they have passed a bunch of new laws that pertains to your service. If you're to build a new service, for instance, I bought a piece of property on the water from the county, and the town owned it, and I bought it from the town. It was a private residence for 50 years. The structure was in bad shape. I tore it down, and now I'm going to rebuild, and I want a new electrical service. So I passed a law that says that you have to have a CO to get a residential service, okay, residential rate. Even though it hasn't been commercial, never been commercial, in order to get that, you have to have a CO. Can't get a CO on a building until the building is complete and inspected. So it's kind of nonsense as far as I'm concerned that they can do that. Because the simple fact, I could see if I was building a factory or something along that line. This is a single family house. And I would like the legislature to pass a law stating in Cayuga County that you give a CO for services, for electric, water, so on and so forth, which would negate their law. They're trying to charge you all. You will all be charged if you build a new one. $403, okay? Put 3 crimps on their wires. You supply the wire, the conduit, everything. They come out, it takes them 10 minutes, and about $20 worth of materials to do this. They put 3 crimps on. And the other thing, they give up the ownership of the meter box. I don't know if you people are familiar with how your electric comes in their meter. It's called a meter can. So they give up that. So now you have to maintain your own meter can. But to maintain it, you can't turn it off. And once you turn it off, it has to be re-inspected. Costs $250 every time you inspect it. You don't get any compensation from the power company for using your can. They put a lock on your can that you can't access it, which I think that's wrong too. But I'm primarily concerned about is the $403 charge for a new service. Used to be when I did this 30 years ago, they used to give you the wire, they used to give you the meter can. It cost you nothing to hook up, you know? And plus NICEAG has been sold, I don't know how many times. Last 2 times ago, a company in Spain owned it. Now a company in Maine owns part of it. And who knows? But I just think it's an unfair tax on us that we have to pay $403 for 10 minutes worth of work and $20 worth of aluminum crimp connections. It makes no sense to me. I can't believe it. If I was a big commercial building, or I was building a factory, I could see that. How they can change the designation of my building site on my building permit that I purchased as states residential. It doesn't state commercial. And they're charging me $403. I haven't paid it. I'm upset with it. I run a generator right now. I'm very, very disgusted. I contacted the power authority. They've never replied or got back in touch with me. So if just a countywide law that states that you can get a temporary CO for services, then we will negate their billing of that fee, because it's crazy. It's crazy how they can designate what you're doing on your property. And then justify it by saying you have to get a CO. And then I says, okay, how about when I get my structure done? You're gonna refund my $403 fee? No, it's gone. It's not right. And then their answer to everything, if you have a problem with light bulb, just don't buy electricity. What are you gonna do? Where are you gonna get it anyplace else? You have to buy it. You've got no choice. I mean, they charge you $30 a month to rent their meter, but you have to maintain the can. They don't pay you nothing to maintain it. And if they plug their meter in, pay you not $1. And then it's an extra fee, $250. If you do have a problem, and you gotta call them to shut it off, and they won't turn it back on unless you pay for the electric. And plus, they never get them checked. It's the only service that you buy in weights and measurements. Fuel, everything else is checked. Propane, everything is checked. I asked them, I had a problem with the meter. I asked them, I got 9 meters. But I asked them, I says, I got a $900 bill, 1 month. I know there's no way I could use $900. It would melt my 14 2-wire. Can't take that much electricity. I said, your meter's got to be. And so I had them change the meter to a smart meter. They pulled the meter. The bill went 1 month it was $380, the next month it was $900. Following month since they got this smart meter, it's been $110 ever since. So I want them to readjust their fee back on the months where it overread. And their statement was no. So they told me I had to go on a budget plan to pay back that $900. I said, I didn't use the electricity. Your meter was bad. No, I mean, they explained to me, meter is mechanically driven, the older ones, that the only way a meter can go bad, it can slow down, but it can't speed up. I said, now wait a minute. I says, I might not be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but it's gears and sprockets. Something could have jumped a tooth in there. You're trying to tell me the only way it can go bad is slow down and stop. It can't go the other way. It makes no sense. I mean, and they're a monopoly. They're a monopoly. And I don't know who they're paying off, but and plus we pay so much for electricity. It's crazy what we're paying. Something's got to be done. And it's just one more fee that they're adding to us. It's all of us. Even the county, even if the county, they're paying it too. Everybody is. It's not right. Nobody's doing nothing about it. So I just like the legislature maybe to consider a law stating that I can get service. CO for services. I can say, see, now I got the service. Then they do it for free, residential. It's $403. It's not the money, it's the principle. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other legislators here have anyone to bring to privilege of the floor? I have a constituent here, Terry Lanamore, to speak.
Nice to see everybody clapping. Not for me though. Today I feel terrible that with my 65 years living on or near Wasco Lake, New York State rejected upgrading the watershed. Like most folks, I've seen a significant degradation of the water quality with the blue-green algae being just a canary in the coal mine of the future problems that are going to be coming. After living in Skinny Atlas for a few months in between houses, I easily recognized that with a strong south wind, that third north end of Skinny Atlas Lake stayed clear. I'm pretty sure that was due to the 4 to 5 feet of water depth that minimizes the bottom sediments, turbulence, nutrients being introduced into the water column. It's my understanding that years ago, the Skinny Atlas Lake was dredged from the golf course to the north end of Skinny Atlas. Now, as of recently, I observed firsthand that with strong south winds on the Wasco Lake, a strong mud line develops about 20 yards off of the pier, south end of the pier. And it's about a mile wide from the east to west side of the lake. This soil must be drawn into the city of Auburn's raw intake, along with tons of soil nutrients being reintroduced into the water column. I understand that this is helping to feed the green algae. I understand the city is considered trying to extend the water intake for millions of dollars, which would help the city's water for a while. But dredging the north end of the lake to reduce the nutrients would need to be done at some point anyways. And working with the county, Cayuga County Soil and Water Group, the cost could be reasonable, as this is mostly eroded soils from ag farms. It could have a effect of $900 per boat. Also, with the New York State DEC and Health Department, hopefully totally embarrassed with 7 years of runaround that they gave us with the watershed rules, that they would kick in along with the feds, most if not all costs as needed. I would recommend doing a trial test this winter when the water level is at its lowest end, and then decide on what would be needed in the full-scale project. Remember, Onondaga Lake was rated one of the worst lakes for pollution in the world, not just the USA, but the world. You don't hear about green algae problems in Onondaga Lake after their dredging program for some nasty chemistry issue. But it also helped mitigate the nutrient loading in the lakes. Folks, we are not going to change the weather pattern for the immediate future. And we have had a setback on the watershed rules. Therefore, I believe Plan B should be to eliminate a major food source for the blue-green algae by dredging critical parts of Wasco Lake. Cayuga County, along with the city of Auburn and the town of Wausau, ought to consider a demonstration dredging project this winter. See what problems would come into play. And the watershed groups of the county health department and other, they ought to check into maybe drone surveillance to help identify pollutants, along with some new chemical testing that's available that is approaching Star Trek sophistication and identifying a broad array of chemicals. Thank you very much.
At this point, I'm going to be opening up our public to be heard. If anyone would like to speak to the local law as well during this public hearing, you may call us at 315-294-8051. If anyone would like to put the microphone, you may do so at this time on any issues, including the public hearing. So give you a moment to consider. At this point, we'll do the minutes.
Minutes to approve July 23rd, 2024.
I'll move it.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you. We have appointments and reappointments. We have an appointment to Water and Sewer Authority. And we do have the resolution corresponding to this appointment at the end of the agenda. So we don't need to, we'll vote on it then. Communication and announcements. Do we have any this month? Okay, CCC report. I know Dr. Durant had contacted us to say he was not well today. I'm not sure if it went through you as well, but I was contacted to say that he couldn't make it this evening. So he cannot be here with us today. Up next, we have committee reports and individual legislative reports. Mr. Muldrow?
Yeah, I did, as I stated, last month, I did get a chance to visit, one of the sites, which was the Department of Motor Vehicles. I also, I phoned the sheriff. There's nothing really changed there much, and the DA. And then, but, you know, they're very tight workspaces, we know, and as was stated. And what I would like, you know, to do is Peter came up with some suggestions. And I will, as promised, I will copy you on the email, Peter, and I will send it to the chair and as well as the manager and both majority and minority chairs. I couldn't work in those conditions, and I applaud you guys for going in every day and doing it. He lists several issues. You know, it's 8 people in this tight space, and there's a lot of you know, tension. You know, I mean, there's a lot of tension in the environment, and you know, with these mistakes could be made. And also, they share a bathroom with some of the people coming into the jail to visit. So these are tough conditions, and I want to applaud our county employees for staying steadfast while we're doing this. I can't do anything but, like I said, visit these sites and report them. You know, and when it's time to vote, I can vote accordingly. But I'm going to put a lot of work into the email that I sent off, so that way I didn't do it yet. And I would have visited more sites, but I was, everybody knows I was gone for a couple of weeks. So, stay strong there, Pete. I know it's rough conditions, and I think that would be better served if the chair allowed me and there is information to be shared. I think the lack of communication sometimes, there's a lot of department heads and there's a lot of employees that don't know what's going on. And I think when, just in my experience as an employee, when I was an employee, if I didn't have the information, my mind went wild and I got angry, and we very well could be working on solving the problem, but not making them aware of it. So I would like to just give me some information, and I'm willing to work a little harder to communicate. So that's my report, and you know, just keep going. Brian?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I speak for a second. As county clerk and overseer of that department, I would request to be included in those communications.
Will do.
We're trying to work together.
And let me be clear, the communication is going to be, I'm going to take all the feedback and the information, put it in an email in my words, and put it and send it off. So, and I will copy you that as well. All right.
Any other legislator or committee reports to be shared this evening? Yes.
From the Office of Aging, I wanted to just reiterate, the board members all received this notice. Their annual Senior Resources Fair will happen on Wednesday, September 25th at the Finger Lakes Mall. There literally will be hundreds of vendors. Last year, there were 1,200 seniors and elderly in our community who took advantage of the vendors. All of it information oriented, program oriented, you know, including things like Medicare information, how to get screening for your Medicare benefits and other benefits eligibility, even talking with an elder and attorney consultations available for that. Balance testing, vision testing, health screenings, all kinds of things in addition to a myriad of vendors who are out there looking to assist our seniors and elders. So that is Wednesday, September 25th, Finger Lakes Mall from 8:30 a.m. to 10.
Thank you. Thanks for the reminder. Anything else? Go
I
ahead.
just want to give notice that we requested as the Water and Sewer Authority, give a presentation at the September meeting up in Sterling. There was a few questions on the last presentation we had. I think it was Public Works possibly. And there was a few questions and we're preparing more information and we should have that by the next meeting.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Out on that one. Appreciate it. And you are going to come to Sterling. They are coming to Sterling to do that, right?
Yes.
Yes. Any other individual reports or legislature reports? Okay. I'm going to go forward with the chair report. It's been a very busy month. Of course, it hasn't stopped or slowed down. I'm really happy that we had employees and some of you are still here and department heads are always here. I'm really happy that they came in this evening and could share their concerns. I'm happy that you could all listen to them directly. The operations team of Steve Lynch, Shireen Andrasco, and myself have been responding to issues that arise with all departments as they come up. In addition, there are many meetings about the status of the county office building. There have been also change orders to the roof repair project. So that will resume soon, but we're stopping for a time in order to get some change orders in. Also, there will be an update of the asbestos investigation plan during the next month. So we'll know more about the proposal for that plan. And then hopefully we'll get some idea of timeline. We can be presented information about what is happening with the building and talk about the emergency and why we can't be there. We do have a special ledge meeting that was scheduled for this Thursday. It is here at 6 p.m. We're going to be discussing possible options for locations to lease as we head into longer term placement for the county office building departments who needed to be relocated in a hurry by this emergency. So we closed everything down May 29th. We said 3 months. So September 1st puts us like at the 3 month span. We have exhausted where we've been. So thank you to people who have been squeezed into tight spaces. Thank you to people who have accepted us, other folks into your spaces. We have done at least a couple of spaces, but we definitely have been very much hard at work at looking globally at all of those departments, trying to find the best plan we can to present to this body that you can hopefully make some decisions on Thursday evening. So it's a lot of kind of exciting to think about because we have scoured the county, specifically Auburn and the city. For a lot of our departments, we have come up with some good ideas, some good plans, and we are finally ready to give you that information. We're doing our best to get some numbers in place for Thursday. People have been working tirelessly on that. We just had a meeting about that before this meeting. And regardless of, it may not be perfect for Thursday, I need you to give me some feedback and what it is that you guys will entertain. And we need to get these people in comfortable, productive assignments in places where we can really count on us being there. Until we know the future of our building, we're confronted with this. Is it going to be expensive? Yes. Is it going to be another transition? Yes, it is. And we just have to do this because it's our charge right now to do this. So it's timely that we had employees here this evening. And I hope that we have great outcomes for Thursday's meeting. I want to thank everybody for their continued patience. Many of the people who have remained in the room, thank you for sticking it out. Thanks for all the feedback. We've gotten a lot of emails. I get a lot of people just coming up to me in random places, Cafe 108 or wherever, and saying like, hey, this stinks. What are you doing for me? You know, and I take that back to the operations team and to our wider resource team, which involves budget and procurement and finance and everything. So we're all trying really, really hard to work together to come up with some good solutions. So thank you again. Switching gears a little bit, yesterday I had the pleasure to meet with Commissioner Jackie Bray from New York State Department of Homeland Security Emergency Services. Commissioner Bray and her staff came to Cayuga County to just have a meet and greet, an in-person meeting to discuss what's important to Cayuga County, what are our concerns in terms of emergency services in Cayuga County. So we were able to meet at the Owasco Firehouse with the Owasco Sheriff or Owasco Chief Jeremy Vavone and our Emergency Director Riley Shurtleff. So we had a great conversation about general funding concerns, other concerns in Cayuga County being EMS concerns. I'm looking at Mark, sorry. The volunteer fireman, fire chief. So EMS concerns, backup 911 concerns, primary 911 concerns. So we all know we've had 2 events now where our 911 has been compromised. The backup system is not reliable in the way that we've structured it to this point. We're working on options for that as well as an operations team. But we basically the point of the meeting was not just to meet, but to show what we're working with as our backup is at the Owasco Firehouse, but also to give them a reminder of this face. And they had some interesting Cayuga County swag they could take with them. So they had an umbrella, like every time it rains, you open your umbrella, you see Cayuga, you think of us. If we are confronted with an emergency in this county, they know that we need attention. We're going to need some help, like ASAP, until we can fortify our 911 backup center. As you all know, it's located in the basement of the county office building. So that was a very productive meeting. It was fantastic for the chief, Jeremy Vavone, to talk about recruitment, IT infrastructure for cybersecurity, as he also works as IT for the county, and for, of course, for Ryan Shurtleff to be in the room to talk about other emergency considerations. So I was very happy that they came to give us some attention and one-on-one help. And also they gave us some great ideas for potential funding opportunities for a backup 911 center in terms of equipment and furniture and things that we didn't know that we could use specific funding for. So that was very helpful. But that generally concludes my report. I just wanted to give an update and thank everyone in this room again for everything that you've been going through with the county. Questions?
Yes. Just for clarity, I mean, you said there's change orders in the roof. The decision's been made to replace that roof. Because the decision has not been made that we can no longer occupy the county office building or ever will be. Is that
That's true.
fair to say?
Right. We don't have any data or information points that says you can't occupy the building. We haven't done that investigation yet. I will say though, by not repairing the roof and leaving a gaping hole for water to infiltrate the roof is not going to help either.
An opportunity to return
or an opportunity to sell a building if we ever were in the situation to.
Because I've heard criticism, well, you know, why are we putting one more nickel into that building? But we don't know the outcome at this point. And to your point, the outcome is to not reoccupy the building and put it on the market. At least it has a roof on it.
Well, and that's the thing. It's not as if we were putting on a new roof because we just want a new roof. We have a compromised roof that is bringing water into the county office building.
Situation.
Yes. And so we need to contain the envelope of the building, and then we're doing this investigation as well. So it is just something we had to do.
And we'll be getting additional funds to put to this county office building dilemma so that we can have the funds to rent appropriate space or lease appropriate space for people to work in. I mean, that's really the goal. It's just taken a long time to figure it out.
It's a long time. We have a lot of folks displaced. We've had many scenarios that we've charted out. Steve and Shireen are not here. I don't think Shireen's here either. But they're online, I think. But they're laughing probably with their mute off. We have charted out many scenarios, and it's like Goldilocks, it's like, you have too much space, or there aren't enough space. We want to co-locate certain departments. We have departments that require security. There's a lot of things to take into consideration. There are departments that have money, right? That money exchange hands. So they want to be in a different kind of location. There are parking concerns. So there's a whole host of things that we have to take into consideration. We occupied the tallest building in the county, in that downtown Auburn area. I think, well, the tallest one on that part of Genesee Street block. Certainly not the high-rise homes, but that's a lot of people, and it's a lot of services. Also, I want to just mention finding places that are accessible to the public, right? So that are ADA compliant, that have enough bathrooms. It's been a struggle, but we're there. We have some good ideas.
I think the point was made very well that, the employees have not seen our faces perhaps as much as they wish they had. But you have asked your management team to get out there and be visible and to understand what was happening in the workspaces. Is that?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. We're very aware of that as well. Yes. And I know that, the operations officer, Shireen, she's been, the closest one to do
Site
visits and to check on everything. And mostly what I've asked for her to look for is also, as a member of the public, what is your access like? Study how folks are accessing the services and make sure that, report back on that. So that's what she's been doing as well. So, but that's my update. Yep.
Change gears here just a slight little bit. I'm asking today for a status update on our emergency resolution that must be signed every 5 days.
Oh.
To, prevent transportation of undocumented aliens into the county. Last date that I could research and find was the first week of July. If, a busload should show up at our doorstep that we don't know is coming, my fear is, number one, we can't feed them. Number two, we can't house them. And that's not fair to those individuals, and it's certainly not fair to the taxpayers of this county.
Do you have an update? I didn't talk to you about this
No.
yet.
So Mr. Strong, you're right, that the date is sometime in July. It has not been renewed. What I need to do is meet with the chair, get some data from Department of Social Services. We need to reevaluate where the unhoused situation is, what the services situation is in the county. I will do that. I'll put it on my agenda for tomorrow, and I'll start putting that together.
Is this an every 5 day sort of, how does
Well,
this work?
The state of emergency is declared every 30 days, and then the order gets renewed every 5 days. That has lapsed, and so the next step is to revisit to make sure we are in the exact same setting we were before, to see if it needs to be, the state of emergency needs to be redeclared. I'll take a look at that.
My other concern, and I don't know, if everybody is aware, but there has been some issues with these individuals that have committed some, I'll say, serious crimes in the past month here in this county. So it's not like, it's not happening. It is happening. The things that you read or see in the papers or on the nightly news, Texas, Arizona, those what you would consider border states is coming here to Cayuga County. If we don't, maintain or keep this, this policy or this resolution, up to date, I think it's a very serious issue, and it's a public safety issue.
I don't have that data, but if you would send it to me, I'd be happy to bring that to the meeting so that we could share it. Thank you.
I will, sir. Thank you.
I just want to bring up the other thing that we had been talking about was homelessness in the county. That's something that has also been on top of mind with some recent emails. And we are having, it is a struggle to serve the people we need to serve from the county. And so we know that, and it's not our intention to have moved on from that emergency resolution. And it's just been a byproduct of all of this changing and moving and all of that stuff. So thank you for bringing it up this evening. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, I just want to mention, we also have such a shortage of attorneys. You know, I want to give credit to the work that they do. And there are things that obviously are going to slip even when they're critical and important. But I mean, we just have to recognize that our current attorneys are working two types of attorney jobs, county attorneys and DSS attorneys as well, which I commend them for, because this has been ongoing for well over a year now, maybe into the second year. And they are here with us. They're sticking by the county despite this kind of workload. So I just wanted to add that the workload has been tremendous, and it's, you know, it's great to have legislators just remind and, you know, poke reminders there, given your workload.
Thank you for that, Heidi. Yes, great point. All right, at this point, if there's no other questions, we'll move to resolutions. We'll start with Ways and Means with Legislator Daley.
Ways and Means had 5 resolutions that went through committee. The first 2 had to do with a Walgreens, them challenging their assessments, and these 2 resolutions will settle the matter. One resulted in a refund totaling $72,000, and Ways and Means 2 was a reduction in their assessment by over $1 million and a county refund of $8,877. The Ways and Means 3 was the authorization and the recognition of taking in the remaining unrestricted ARPA funds. I think the point is well taken that they came from various sources, some projects that didn't use all of their funding. There are examples of an elevator we were going to project for that's now been brought in. So yes, there were a number of areas, and I think $700,000 of the unrestricted ARPA was never programmed for. So that's part of this $2.9 million. But this, bringing this lost revenue ARPA into the budget will eventually end up getting into our fund balance and giving us this 1-year bump of $2.9 million to our fund balance, which is fairly good timing at this point. Ways and Means 4 is authorizing the payment of the healthcare and mental hygiene worker bonus to qualified employees. We talked about this at Ways and Means. My understanding, this is the last of the payments that are going to be made. This was a state initiative to help with recruitment and retention of certain qualified employees. The employees that are listed here are rather new employees. This money we draw down from the state. It's not added to the salary. And within 30 days of us drawing down this money, we need to make this payment. And that's what this resolution will do. So it is 100% reimbursed and has no negative impact to our county, hopefully just to help with recruitment and retention. Ways and Means 5 is the resolution to fix the day and notice of a public hearing, amending and restating local law number 4 in the year 2021. This was the law that established the office of Cayuga County Finance Director, and it will be retitled, if this moves forward, a local law establishing the Department of Finance and the position of Finance Director. The best way to kind of sum this up, this will be taking the position from a fixed term and a public office appointment and making it more similar to every other department head in the county. Because there is no law or statutory requirement to have this position serve as a fixed appointment, this is the catalyst for this resolution. And if it passes, It will be a department head like any other non-fixed appointment position in the county.
Motion to move
Second,
WM 1, 2, and 4.
second.
Motion and second, we're just 1, 2, and 4?
Correct.
All right. Any discussion on 1, 2, and 4? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those are carried.
Motion for WM 3.
Second.
Oh.
Discussion on-
For discussion.
Okay?
Discussion WM3?
I know we're talking about ARPA projects, which brings to my point, we approved $1 million out of ARPA money for the homeless shelter. I'd like to know the status of that $1 million, number one, and there is a lot of rumors about this particular homeless shelter. It's the one up on Grand Ave that I'm talking about. So I guess my question is, before I would vote on WM3 or vote to approve it, I'd like to know the status of that $1 million.
Just as mark a point of clarification, this taking in the ARPA money from the non-restricted fund into our county budget has nothing to do with that $1 million because that's in the restricted category. Just like water and sewer, homeless or low-income housing, broadband, those are all restricted funds. And right now, giving the $1 million to Housing Visions, we have $1.6 million left in the restricted money. That's the money you keep talking about that we better find a use for, because if we don't use that money, it will go back to the government. But this particular resolution, and I think we are going to be having an update on where we are with the homeless shelter. My understanding is there has been some vouchering against it's really 1.2 million 500. Yes, so there has been some vouchering in it done. There is a well recognition that the money has to be spent by 2026 for it to meet the ARPA criteria. So we can get an update on where, I know there might be a court challenge or an Article 78 proceeding that might be happening this month. But this particular resolution just takes any of the remaining unrestricted ARPA that hasn't been programmed for or spent, and it takes it into the county so that we can realize the $2.9 million increase into our fund balance. So the homeless shelter is separate from this resolution.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to separate this one out so I had an opportunity to I guess maybe thank the people that are looking to help us with our fund balance. 2 months ago at this pledge meeting, I talked about where we are in our budget cycle, where we are with overspending in certain areas. Also, the amount of spending that we're going to continue to have with the county office building. At that time, we tried to delay some hires. It was obvious that this body didn't have the stomach to do that. And my opinion is that we need every dollar that we can to replace the amount of fund balance that's going to be consumed this year. We cannot continue to spend at the level that we're spending and expect not to have very high county tax increases this next year. This is just one way to soften the blow. I was hoping we could soften the blow by holding off on some hires, but that isn't going to happen. But I will tell you that when budget time comes, there's probably going to be some hard decisions to be made. And unfortunately, some of these positions we're approving now could possibly be cut during this next budget process. So again, I thank the people that are working hard to try to find ways to beef up the budget that we have. But also I don't mean to be a doom and gloomer, but we are going to have difficult times coming. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
I think to Ben's point, there has to be some discussion about what's the stomach for use of the fund balance for next year and what's the stomach for the tax increase. And that will drive the whole discussion on the preliminary budget that gets released. Both of those factors, correct?
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's carried. Okay, WM5,
Motion for WM5.
Nightingale, second.
discussion on this?
Yeah,
Yes.
not opposed to the people that are holding the offices right now and the change, but I am opposed to not reconsidering the establishment of the Department of Finance. It's been running for a couple of years, and so far, unfortunately, we haven't seen any of the benefits that we were promised. We're supposed to see more consolidation of the function of the treasurers within throughout the whole process of county government. But we haven't seen any of that. We haven't seen any of the benefits. When we started, as a matter of fact, we went from treasurer to treasurer finance department. Right off the bat, it cost us an extra $100,000. We're talking about saving money, and I think before we do anything with the department, we should re-examine whether it ought to exist or not, but we ought to go back to where we were, which seemed to be better. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All in favor for WM5?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Myself, of course.
Strong? That's carried. Thank you. Health and Human Services, Legislator Nightingale.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Health and Human Services had 12 resolutions from committee in August and 5 resolutions that came back to us that were tabled in July. I would like to bundle for discussion HH1, HH2, HH4, HH5, HH6, HH7, HH12. These are all filled. Notice with HH2, 5, and 12 that they were, it says amended at ways. There's really no discussion about those amendments. That was the issue we had with dates of fills.
Okay, can we get a motion on HH 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 12? That bundle.
Madam
Second.
Chair, may I address HH7? I thought HH7 had some amendments to it.
Yes, I didn't mean to put that in. Did I say 7?
Sorry.
Please, delete that because HH7 I'll discuss separately.
So
Okay.
1, 2, 4, 5, 6,
6, 11,
11.
and 12.
Gotcha.
Stand correct.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion, a second on this bundle. Discussion on the bundle.
Can I get the second?
I think this.
I did. Did I do it?
Yeah.
I did. Motion.
I think the chair seconded.
Oh, she motioned.
Did I second?
I think I motioned it.
I'll second. I'll second it then.
Okay, yeah, I motioned
I
it.
didn't mean to
I'll second it then.
hear my voice.
Multiple seconds.
In board discussion, what I'll say to you is that these are fills that come from resignations or movement within the department. We've discussed them thoroughly in terms of, backfills, et cetera. Some I have not included because we are going to discuss more thoroughly some amendments and some amendments to be made that were discussed at both HHS and ways.
Further discussion? All in favor of this bundle?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is carried.
Okay, so I would like to propose a motion for HH3.
I'll move it. Second,
Second.
discussion, or you would like to explain?
Yeah, so HH3 is authorizing the legislature and the Social Services Commissioner to create and fill a junior accountant grade 19 position and abolish a principal accountant clerk at grade 16. This resolution comes as a result of a resignation, and the department head took the opportunity around the resolution to look at the duties of the principal accountant clerk, took it through the proper channels, HR, civil service, personnel committee, who agreed indeed that this position is actually the principal account clerk at grade 16 is actually working as a social service commissioner as a junior accountant grade 19.
Okay, further,
So I just wanted to give you that background around
Yeah.
why we see a create in this environment
gotcha.
with the bill.
Okay, further discussion on this create and fill.
I mean, I'm like, I can barely hear.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's carried, thank you.
HH7. I gave each of you in advance an updated resolution. You'll see it near your desks. It has the highlighted information. HH7 is authorizing the chair of the legislature and the Commissioner of Social Services to enter into a contract with Community Action Agency Programs, CAP, to perform outreach activities for the state mandated HEAP program. This is a 100% federally funded program. The period of this program is September 1st, 24 through April 30th, 25. The amendment includes the second to the last whereas, and this, gets to issues around space as well. Whereas due to Cayuga County's current space constraints, Cayuga County desires to have DSS, seasonal HEAP staff, and year-round HEAP staff housed at Community Action Agency's program site during the contract timeframe. That's a 24-week timeframe. And it will bring the budget, it will increase the budget to 146,648. The original budget being Scott.
On the second, while you're looking for that, Heidi, so was this originally presented during HHS or is this new?
No, this is new amendment that I'm proposing.
Okay, so it's a new one.
138,690.
Yes, 138,690 was the original full budget for HEAP, being increased to 146,648. The increase allows us as a county to contract to have 2 DSS year-round workers and 4 HEAP employees. One is a supervisor of the program, work out of CAP at the offices on York Street. They'll be provided space, desks, Wi-Fi, use of a printer at the CAP York Street site. So this increase, 146,648, allows us to pay CAP for this housing contract services.
Madam Chair, we need a motion for HH7 as it was presented first, correct?
That's correct.
I'll make the motion for HH7.
Second.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to make a motion to amend HH7
And I'll second to
as
amend.
just stated.
Any discussion on the amendments as been stated?
Okay, Fred.
I'm happy, thank you.
All in favor on the amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All in favor on the resolution as amended?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Thank you. Very good.
Okay, I'd also like to offer HH8 and HH9 as a bundle. These are both contracting services with services that we typically contract with for social services. One is with Northwoods for provision of our software. Solution technology, especially important now, as so many of our workers are working remotely. As one of our workers mentioned, even from their cars. So they've got that ability to pull up the laptop and get work done. However uncomfortable, the software allows that. And also authorizing the Director of Community Services and the Chair of the Cayuga County Legislature to continue contracting for the substance abuse and mental health services funded by the opioid settlement.
I'll make a motion on the bundle. A second on the bundle?
Second.
Discussion on HH 8 and 9. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's carried.
HH10 is authorizing a transfer from our general fund, so we will need a 2/3 vote for this to pass. The amount of this transfer, this is for psychiatric care that is required in order when people are ordered into mental health evaluations in institutions before, so that they can, or possibly not, be rendered competent to stand trial. At this point, the state puts all of the responsibility for this payment on the counties. And our department chair for community service, the Community Services Board, has projected right now who is in care through the end of the year and what that amount will look like. And it is $600,079,269.
Regrettably, I'll move HH 10.
I'll second. Discussion on HH 10. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's carried.
So I'm going to look at the tabled July resolutions, 724 HH3, 724 HH4, 724 HH6, and 724 HH9. These are all fills that come from resignations, retirements, and are budgeted. The HH6, however, is not a fill, is not resignation or retirement. This is the 4 HEAP seasonal positions. So it's different from the HEAP budget that we just passed. These are actually the seasonal workers.
Can I clarify, did you add HH 5 in with this as well?
No, I did
No,
not.
you kept it separate. Okay. We have a bundle of HH 3, 4, 6, and 9. We'll move them as a bundle unless anyone wants those separated. We'll move them as a bundle. Get a second?
I'll second.
Discussion on this bundle 3, 4, 6, 9.
Thank you, Madam Chair. HH6, did you say these are 4 additional positions for HEAP?
These are 4 seasonal,
Seasonal.
not additional, but seasonal. So every season for 24 weeks, we get 100% federal funds to have HEAP caseworkers come in and work with those who are.
The previous resolution would fund these 4, is that what you're telling me?
The previous resolution includes the financing and funding for them. Yes. This is a resolution to actually fill the positions.
Thank you.
Yep.
Other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you.
And I separated out HH5 because we've had discussion at both committee and Ways and Means. So I wanted to be clear about what this resolution includes. This is the resolution to fill a paralegal specialist in our social services department at grade 16. We've had discussion with the department head to bring this paralegal specialist to a 50% position, a half-time position with no fill behinds. So the language of this resolution includes those negotiations through our HH committee and Ways and Means Committee. So I just wanted to separate that out for clarity, that we're cutting it to a 50% position and no fill behinds.
Get a motion?
I move it.
Get a second?
I'll second.
All right, any other discussion? Any discussion? No. Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you. All right. Government Operations, Legislator Muldrow.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Just a suggestion, is there any way we can get IT to give us some microphones? It's very hard to hear it.
I will talk about, yes, I'll comment on that at the end.
Okay, all right. Okay, GO1, authorizing the chair of the legislature and the commissioner of the Cayuga County Board of Elections to sign a contract extension with NTS to provide election management software.
I'll move it.
Second.
Any discussion at GO1? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's carried.
GO2 is authorizing the sale of property owned by Cayuga County.
Move it.
Second, Martin.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. If we could, at this point in time, unless anyone is willing to speak to the public hearing, I am going to close the public hearing. It's been over an hour. So we can go ahead then and vote technically on GO3.
Oh, GO3.
Yep.
Resolution to adopt the local law, amending the local law number 5 of 2022 to correct the legal description of the boundaries of certain legal districts.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Are you raising your hand? Oh, no. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's carried. Thanks. Okay, up next, Legislator Vitale with Planning Public Works.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. Public Works has, I think, 13 total resolutions for a motion for PPW 1. And that's for the cleaning service at the county office building, which has been a part of the amendment, the Hardingburg building and so on. I would also like to bundle PPW 9 with that, and that's for us to go out to bid for the cleaning of the historic post office and the county courthouse.
Okay, we have PP.
P1 and 9.
Nightingale, move.
Second.
Second it for discussion.
Great. Move for discussion. Go ahead.
Just to be clear, the county office building is not in this, correct?
Correct.
That was the amendment. Thank you for that.
Any other discussions?
Just a quick comment on our process as legislators. The amendment or the resolution came to us through committee and was discussed at committee to pull that county office building. When it got to Ways and Means, the language just didn't get pulled. It was simply a mistake. We talked about it. Legislator Strong brought that up to make sure there was clarity. And in our resolution today, as it says, the COB is currently closed and the AACC will not charge us the 118,500 per year, which is a 9,875 per month for cleaning for the building until it reopens. So I want to say that there was clarity in our process, and that's why we do have committee meetings, then the Ways and Means meeting, and we get to this. So thank you to all my colleagues for working with that process.
Thank you.
There was an extension of this cleaning contract. Is that why there was no obligation to go out to bid?
That's true.
Correct.
Yes.
There was the opportunity for a 1-year extension.
And that we exercised our opportunity for 1-year extension. So we are I know Amanda Grady has worked very hard on our procurement policy and all of the business that goes along with that.
Yes, because otherwise, if we didn't have an extension, this would be an opportunity to go out to bid on this
Well,
project. Yep.
Okay.
We didn't have to because there is an extension
Yep.
ability and we took that. Yep. So we have 1 and 9. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those are carried.
Looking for a motion for PPW2 is authorize the chair of the Cayuga County Legislature to sign a one-stop system of operating agreement with the Cayuga Cortland Workforce Development Board.
I'll move it.
Nightingale, second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried.
PPW3 is authorize the chair of the legislature and the highway superintendent to extend a support and maintenance agreement with G-Works Corporation for maintenance of the cloud hosting software services utilized at the highway department.
I'll move it.
Second.
Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried.
PPW4 is authorize the submission of 2 clean energy communities grant by the county to the New York State NYSERDA. So
Move it.
Nightingale, second.
Okay, discussion on this. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried.
Madam Chair, I'd like to bundle PPW 5, 6, and 7. They're authorizing agreements all here within the Emerson Park. One of them is a budget transfer, electric service at Doval Island, and Little League operation agreement.
Move 5, 6, or second, 5, 6, and 7.
Correct.
Okay, I'll second. Great. Any discussion? 5, 6, and 7. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's carried.
PPW 8 is authorize the chairperson of the legislature and the director of weights and measures to accept state funding for inspections and screening tests.
Move it, Mark.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Going back to the tabled resolutions from June and July, PPW 2 from June is authorized highway superintendent filled motor equipment operator medium positions. And I'd like to bundle that with PPW 4 from July, authorize the fill of a motor equipment operator heavy position.
I'll move it.
Second, Mark.
For clarity, it was all of those tabled, but just
The
in
two, PPW 2 from June and PPW
Thank you.
4 July.
Great, thank you. Any discussion on these? All in favor? Any opposed? Those are carried.
And finally, I'd like to bundle PPW 2 and 3 from June. They're for highway supervisor positions.
I'll move it. Second, Mark.
Discussion on those? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Here.
Carried, thank you. Legislator Anna, Judicial Public Safety.
Good evening, Madam Chair. JPS has 10 resolutions which have cleared both committees. I'd like to offer JP1 and JP2 as a bundle as they pertain to 911. Authorizing the chair of the legislator to sign a 4-month contract with Eaton for the uninterruptible power supply and the backup 911. And then JP2 authorizes the chair of the legislature to sign a 5-year maintenance agreement with Motorola for the Cayuga County Emergency Communication System.
I'll move JP 1 and 2.
Second.
Any discussion on these? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's carried.
Madam Chair, I'd like to offer JP3 as it requires a 2/3 vote. It's authorizing an amendment of the 2024 Cayuga County Compensation Plan and the Cayuga County District Attorney's 2024 budget reflecting a state mandated salary increase. This is in reference to the DA's mandated state wage or salary, which is mandated by the state of New York and has gone up in cost.
I'll move it.
Second. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is carried.
JP4 is also with the DA's office authorizing the district attorney to accept the grant from New York State Office of Victim Services to continue the victim witness program, which is a legal requirement.
I'll move it.
Yeah, second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Madam Chair, if I may, offer up JP 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 as a bundle. They pertain to the probation department. If anyone would like one separated, we can do that. JP 5 authorizes the chair of the legislator to enter into an agreement with Cayuga Counseling for alternative sentencing programming for the term of July 1, 24 through to June 30th, 25. JP 6 is authorization to fill one principal typist title in the probation department. And JP 7 is to fill one probation supervisor title in the county probation department. JP 8 authorizes the probation department to accept funding through the GIVE grant. And JP 9 authorizes the probation department to enter into contract with Cayuga County to provide pretrial release services.
Get a motion on the bundle.
I'll move it as a bundle. I'll second.
Okay, discussion on the bundle? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's carried.
And finally, Madam Chair, JP 10 authorized the sheriff and chair of Cayuga County Legislature to renew an agreement with the New York State Unified Court System to ensure adequate security services are available to the court system in Cayuga County.
Move it, Mark. Second.
This can't be melted.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, we have 3 ledge resolutions for this evening. The first one, ledge 1, amending resolution number 248-24, authorizing the chair of the legislature to contract for goods and services and equipment related to the emergency closure during the pendency of the emergency and authorizing the transfer of monies. It does require a 2/3 vote. We did talk about this at Ways and Means. And it does increase an amount to another $500,000 that we can use.
Move it by Tally.
Second.
Discussion on this. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
That is carried. Thank you. Ledge 2, authorizing appointments to various boards and agencies. Get a motion.
I'll move it.
Second.
Discussion.
What is it just, Anna, is it just one position? Is it-
Yes. There was just one.
Okay, I'm fine. Okay.
Any other discussion?
Talk about. No, I don't.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's carried. It's getting hot in here. All right, ledge 3 is a new resolution authorizing the chair of legislation to fill a secretary to the chairperson position. Sarah Blowers has moved on from Cayuga County. So we wish her well in her next chapter and what she's going to do next. So we have a resolution to fill this position. And I need a motion.
Move it.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is carried. Hang on a second. Let me think if there's anything else. Any other business to come before the board?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, never mind that. I was just gonna say something in response to the director of finance position, but
I guess we're done.
yeah, we're done.
Who seconded it? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
So we are adjourned. Thank you.
Said something about microphones.
Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you. That was the thing. So,
Motion back there.
sorry.